Watch someone mid-argument in their kitchen when the phone rings. Their spine straightens, their voice climbs a register, and out comes sunshine. 2 seconds ago that voice didn't exist. Or watch the front door. The courier gets a little bow, a thank you with actual melody in it, a wave held until the van pulls away. Then the door clicks shut. And the warmth doesn't fade, it drops. Whoever's inside the house gets whatever is standing there after the drop. You've seen the restaurant version. Charming to the waiter, quick with the jokes, generous with the thank yous, then flat, short answers to the person actually sharing the table. It's a switch. There's no ramp, no warm-up. Watch them hang up the phone and the sunshine drains out mid-sentence, like a costume dropped on the floor. And here's the detail worth keeping, nobody in the house is surprised. The family has watched the switch flip so many times it's furniture. So here's the question. Why does the warmth flow outward, to people who will forget you by tomorrow, and run dry at the exact people it was supposedly all for? The easy answer is two-faced. Fake. But look closer, because that answer doesn't survive contact. Both versions are real. Nobody's lying in either room. The stranger version isn't a performance of someone kinder. It's effort. And the home version isn't cruelty, it's the absence of effort. The real question is where the effort goes. Start with what a stranger actually is. A stranger is an open verdict. They haven't decided about you yet. Every stranger is a tiny election you can still win. The barista, the receptionist, the man holding the lift, polls open, polls close, all inside a minute. The courier will remember you for about 8 seconds. And you perform for those 8 seconds like the review goes on your permanent record. Because charm is a campaign. And campaigns only run where the vote is still up for grabs. Now walk back through the front door. At home, the votes were counted years ago. These people have seen your worst mornings and stayed anyway. So the campaign office closes at the door. The posters come down. The candidate goes home, and you live with the candidate. That's the pattern underneath, and it runs all the way down. Effort follows uncertainty. Wherever the outcome is still open, you're warm. Wherever it's settled, you're flat. Watch it work as a budget. You wake up with a full tank of patience, and it's finite. Everyone you meet makes a withdrawal. And you spend it in strict order, clients first, then colleagues, then strangers on the phone. Outward first. Always outward first. So by the time you're home, the account is empty. The family gets whatever's left. And what's left, most nights, is nothing. Notice the timing of your temper. You didn't snap at the boss at 4 o'clock. The toll gets paid at 7, in the kitchen, by somebody who wasn't even there. It's not that home makes you angry. Home is just where the bill for the whole day arrives. And there's a darker line in the ledger. Home is the only place where losing your temper costs nothing. At least, that's the bet. Yell at a client and you lose the account. Yell at your kid, and tomorrow they still come down to breakfast. The forgiveness is guaranteed. So it gets used. Sit with that one. You are rudest exactly where forgiveness is certain. That's not bad luck, that's the pattern choosing its venue. But hold on, why you? Some people bring the phone voice home. Some people are gentlest at their own table. What decided you'd save the flat voice for family? Go back far enough and there's usually a house where the switch was demonstrated. Nightly. You watched a parent's voice bloom when guests arrived. The good dishes came out, and so did a laugh you never heard on ordinary nights. And you watched that voice leave with the guests. The door closed, the laugh switched off, and the ordinary house came back like a tide. So the kid takes the note without knowing they're taking notes. Warmth is a uniform. You put it on to go out. You hang it up by the door. Or maybe your house taught the opposite lesson. Outside was where mistakes had prices, so you performed out there, all day, and home was the one room where the act was allowed to stop. Either way, the same wiring settles in. Outside means on duty. Inside means off duty. And a person who's off duty stops doing everything performance does. Including gentleness. That's the part nobody warns you about. Now watch who gets which version of you, because it isn't random. Plot your kindness like readings on a map. Brightest at the far edges, the barista, the stranger holding the door. Warm at the middle distance, colleagues, neighbors, the school-run parents. And at the exact center, at the pin marked home, the coldest reading on the whole map. Because the gradient doesn't run by love. It runs by safety. The safer someone is, the less performance they get. And here's the ugly geometry of that, performance is what warmth looks like from the outside. So the map reads upside down. The people you take a bullet for are getting the smallest version of you that exists. Now count the cost, because someone else already is. Your partner watches you take a work call, and you light up. Quick, generous, funny. A whole person they remember. Then you hang up, turn around, and bring somebody else entirely to dinner. Shorter answers. Flat voice. The lights off behind the eyes of the conversation. And they start doing the math you'd never want them to do. He can be delightful, so it's a choice. She has warmth in her, it's just not for me. They're wrong about the mechanism. But the data is right there, every single night, and it only points one way. Your mother gets the sigh, the waiter gets the smile. Don't think she hasn't counted. People at the center of the map keep very careful archives. The kids run the experiment too. They hear your telephone laugh come through the wall, and they learn, precisely, which voice is available and which one they get. Give it years, and the people closest to you arrive at a quiet conclusion. Not that you're cruel. Worse. That they're the thing you rest from. Now here's the cruel joke at the center of the whole thing. The coldness at home isn't the absence of love. It's the presence of trust. Home is the only room where you're not on trial. So it's the only room where you stop trying. The two arrive together. They always arrive together. The flat voice is actually a certificate. It says, I believe you will stay, even when I'm like this. Nobody else on earth gets shown that. But nobody experiences being trusted that way. From the receiving end, off-duty looks identical to indifferent. There is no visible difference. None. So your safest person can't feel like your safest person. From where they stand, they just feel like the one you don't bother for. Which means the more completely someone earns your trust, the worse the view gets from where they're standing. That's the machine. That's the whole machine. Loyalty gets rewarded with the backstage. Unswept floors, dead flowers from the last show, no performance ever again. And they're told it's a privilege. Now stop watching other people, because you did this. This week. Somewhere a door clicked shut and your whole posture changed, and you never clocked it. Replay your last phone call, the one that rang mid-argument. Where did that sunshine come from? And be honest about where it went when you hung up. Track your patience through one evening, like following a route. Notice where it runs out. It runs out precisely at the person who never once made you spend any. And when they finally ask it, why don't you ever talk to me like that, notice that you already know the answer. Because, like that, is work. And they're the one place you don't work. None of this is proof you love them less. It's a flag on the map. The coldest spot marks the person you've decided is permanent. But permanence cuts both ways. The stranger forgets your kindness in a minute. The permanent people are the only ones keeping records across decades, and you've been filing your worst hours with them. Widen out, because it's not just your house. Every front door on the street has the same switch wired into it. The neighbor who greets you like sunrise every morning. Somebody lives behind that door with the version that comes back inside. Whole streets of people, spending their best hours on strangers and mailing the leftovers home. And the strangers never even know they won. The courier drives off carrying the friendliest sentence you said all day, and never thinks of you again. Meanwhile, somebody inside has waited years to be spoken to the way you speak to receptionists. So look again at the person snapping at their mother while charming the waiter. That's not two faces. That's one face on duty, and the same face at rest. The waiter is being campaigned. The mother is being trusted. And from the outside, only one of those looks like love. Somewhere tonight a phone will ring in a tense kitchen, and the sunshine voice will rise up out of somebody like a costume going on. And when the call ends, the room will get the flat voice back. And everyone in it will pretend not to notice the drop. But now you'll know what you're hearing. Not hypocrisy. A border, the exact line on the map where somebody stops performing. And you'll know what the coldness inside a home actually marks. Not the end of love. The end of the audition. The people who get your worst voice are the ones who ended it. That's why they get it. They're the only room in your life where you're not running for anything.